my 6. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the greatest homesteading channel on the planet that has nothing whatsoever to do with homesteading off the grid. Yes, as you can tell, I'm out here once again searching for the lost manuscript of Utopia Shattered. This is how long I've been out here this morning doing this. You like my fancy Halloween mug? Look, it's empty because I already drank all the coffee. That's how long I've been out here looking for this thing, and I haven't found it. Goodness gracious. Time to switch to water. All right, so I'm starting to think. Tell you, I might have to just change gears because this is taking up so much time. It's to the point to where I don't know if it's just worth it anymore or not. Now listen, as of this recording, we're just a few days away from All Hallows Eve, and so the veil's getting very thin. And I know you guys come here this time of year to hear the October night stories, and you're just jonesing for a creepy Halloween story. And I'm out here with my really nice thing, you know, trying to find a buried manuscript, hoping that this thing, it's a metal detector, picks up that little metal paper clip. Somebody said in the comment section, just the odds of that happening are just too great. And then somebody else said, there's just no hope. This property this big, I'd have to dig holes everywhere. I'd never find that manuscript. I'm starting to believe them. But listen, it's very important for me that I find it. But anyway, about this Halloween stuff, I am going to tell one of the most terrifying tales on Halloween night of this year. Here just a few days away on this channel. So come for that. I will literally take a break from looking for this lost manuscript of Utopia Shattered to read a story from October Nights Part 2 that is really creepy, especially since it's true. Yeah. So anyway, I've been out here spending literally hours this week trying to find this manuscript. So I'm starting to think about my time. And then, of course, I mean, I'm a business person. So I start to think about how that affects my money. Because I think of, you know, while I'm out here looking for this manuscript that I don't even need to get for any monetary purposes, I could be doing other things. Like I could be running our million fans plus Facebook page, Sick Twisted Humor. I could be, you know, continuing to build up our almost 50,000 followers on Instagram at Sick Twisted Humor, these other social media platforms. Because if I spent the same amount of time doing that I'm doing looking for this thing, I mean, I'm losing thousands of dollars a day by spending my time doing this. But that got me to thinking that this is really a beautiful thing. And this is why I really need to find this manuscript and share it with the world. Because I don't need the money. And when I wrote it, I didn't need the money. So I wrote from a place of realness, from genuineness. And it's the first time I'd done that in years. Because, hey, I'll admit it. I mean, think about it. Before I say what I'm going to say, I want all of you out there who have normal jobs to kind of be able to put this into, you know, relevance in your minds. Okay, you have a job. Whatever, you work these days, and it's okay, you know, it's getting you by, and it's almost meeting your needs. Because remember, job, J-O-B, stands for just over broke. So anybody who has a job really is just going to spend their lifetime being broke, hoping they almost, you know, always feeling the whole time like they're almost caught up, but they're really not. But anyway, you do this job, whatever it is. There are times when maybe your supervisor comes up to you and says, hey, you need to put in some overtime because we've got some quotas to meet and we need you to do it. Okay, and you might not want to do it, but you do it because you need the overtime, you need the hours, your family needs the money. Sometimes you go in on weekends, right? People can relate. Sometimes you do things you don't necessarily want to do because you need the money, right? Now, with that said, it's the same for writers. It's the same for social media content creators. And there for many years, I wrote a lot of stuff that was marketable. Why? Because I needed the money. I mean, so anyway, wait. Did I bring my napkin so I don't have to wipe my nose on my sleeve like a 3-year-old? That really triggers some people. Fortunately, I've layered, so I've got multiple sleeves. If you'll excuse me just a second. Better. Okay, so that's why I want to find this thing. And I feel really blessed right now to be in a position in life to where I can do what I want simply because I want to do it, not because I need the money. Because I don't. I'm at that point. So I'm spending this time trying to find this manuscript. I've mentioned the idea of rewriting it. That'll never work. Because when I wrote it, I was in pain. And oftentimes that's where the artistry that creates great works of art stuff comes from. The pain. It's like you think of that old Bon Jovi song. Says, baby, I want you like the roses want the rain. You know I need you like the poet needs a pain. See? What is that? In These Arms. That's the name of that song. That's so true. As somebody who can write, I mean, I'm not a poet. I'm a writer of fiction, short fiction. That's my strength. Full-length novels, short story collections. So I'm not going to rewrite it. I will find it. But here's some information that's really neat that I'm going to share with you. First of all, getting back to not needing the money, let me tell you, money, it's not that money corrupts. One of the most misquoted verses in the Bible, and I'm not religious by any means, but you'll often hear people saying that money is the root of all evil. No, it's not. Actually, the Bible verse that they're misquoting, like so many people that misquote so many Bible verses or use them out of context to prove their point, the actual verse reads, the love of money is the root of all evil. It's not the money, it's the love of money. Hey, if you're afraid that money's going to make you be evil, give yours to me. You can do many wonderful things with money. You can donate it to charities. You can give it directly to people that you know are in need. I mean, you can go around and find organizations like youth sports, just off the top of my head, because I coach. One of the coaches the other day was talking about how, like, within the next 2 years, we need to buy all brand new football helmets for this league because those things are safety checked. And after so many years, you actually got to get rid of them and throw them away because after they've taken so many hits, they're not effective to 100% because their integrity's been compromised by all the hits. So, I mean, you could buy a football team some football helmets, okay, if you don't want your money because it's so evil. No, it's the love of money. And it brings to mind something that happened recently here in our area, here in the Charlottesville, Virginia area. Our living legend basketball coach, Tony Bennett, just retired. He won the national championship in 2019, coaching, of course, UVA Cavaliers, our first national championship. And I think he's been NCAA Division I Coach of the Year 3 times, which was more than any active coach before he retired last week. But why did he retire? He's still a relatively young man in the grand scheme of life. He's probably mid-50s. He said because of the NIL. For those of you who aren't sports fans or don't follow college sports, here's the deal. You know how they make like video games, like football, basketball, like they call it NCAA 2024. They have the basketball or football. But these are the likenesses of actual college athletes are in these games. And just a few years ago, it was approved for these athletes to actually start receiving payments for their likenesses. Now, a lot of people think, hey, that's great. Of course, that's fair because these universities have been making money off these college student athletes for centuries, literally centuries or however long. And it's true. You know, UVA every weekend when there's a home football game makes $30 million. Yeah, so why shouldn't Anthony Calandria, the quarterback, get a cut of that, right? I kind of can agree with that. However, the damage it's done to college sports has been tremendous because you got a lot of young people who are really good at their sport. They're good at what they do because they've loved it. They've played their whole lives. They get to that D1 level. And a lot of them, I'm sure, have aspirations of going professional. But now you introduce this NIL money, and let me tell you the kind of money we're talking about. It's huge. I think Shredder Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, who is the quarterback for Colorado, I think he's earned $6 million so far off of NIL money. Caitlyn Clark, you remember her? She's in the WNBA now, still trending all the time. She's a really class act, great basketball player. She's putting women's basketball on the map in so many ways. She was a millionaire before she graduated from college and went to the WNBA from NIL deals. So as Tony Bennett stated, he can't build a team anymore. He can't build a franchise. You get these kids for 4 years, 5 if they redshirt. And I heard that. I heard a loud, distinctive tree knock behind me. So you continue to get my 6. You watch for movement, you listen for sounds. Timestamp it if you see it, if you hear it, so others can jump in and see as well. Okay? So you can't build a good solid team anymore. You can't build your core because of this NIL money, and kids are going through that transfer portal now, which opened up a few years ago. It used to be kids would just go through the transfer portal if they felt they weren't getting enough playing time. Like it used to be a quarterback, like Anthony Calandra. He's a young guy, he's a sophomore. He started as both a freshman and a sophomore, even though we have a senior quarterback who's almost equal. Their pros and cons to their styles versus each other's styles. The senior isn't starting. He's rarely getting in because you can't keep a guy like Anthony Calandra back now and say, hey, just, bid your time, work with the practice team. You're going to have your day to shine, because those guys will jump in a transfer portal and they'll go to a smaller, less popular school where they can at least play so they're seen. And I don't blame them for that either, because you're talking about their future careers. You got somebody that may be NBA or NFL material and they're sitting the bench. That transfer portal opens up their opportunity to be able to go to another school and play and be seen and make it and get drafted to the game. You know what I mean? Then you throw money on top of that. And I guess Tony Bennett felt like these kids, these young adults, these college athletes, there's just too much money involved. And it makes it practically impossible as a college coach to perform in that environment. It's changed the game so much. He decided to get out while he's on top. He's had wonderful seasons, takes us to the tournament every year, won it in 2019. We're seeing the changing of an era right now. So what's my point about this and with this manuscript? There's a beautiful innocence to endeavors that are pursued due to the passion that the pursuer has for the endeavor rather than chasing the dollars that might come with it. Right? And that is what Utopia Shattered is for me. Okay? For all these years, I wrote all this stuff. I got to write something that sells. This has got to be marketable. I've got to market it because I had bills and I needed the money. Well, don't really have any bills anymore other than like utilities, and they're so minimal, and the money's just coming in from the half a dozen different social media platforms we've got. Monetized, the passive income from investment, stock dividends, stuff like that. Affiliate marketing we do for Amazon, all these little companies and so it's like, stop digging, stop looking for this manuscript. But no, because I can remember when it was raw and when it was real. And it was about the love of writing. When I won that International Journalism Award when I was living in the Philippines, for Yahoo. I used to be a Veterans Affairs correspondent for a lot of blogs, a lot of media outlets, and I would kind of put myself in my mind back to some places that weren't too pleasant, but the writing was real and it was raw. And guess what? Hundreds of millions of people around the world read it. And that's what Utopia Shattered is, and that's why I've got to find it. Because listen, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. And for the first time in many, many years, I've been able to, it's probably not, money has not been like, and you got to remember, folks, this is not, if you're new to this channel and you hear me talking about this, you might be thinking, wow, this guy's greed. He's obsessed with this. No, I have been third world poor. Okay. I thought growing up underprivileged in Appalachia in a mobile home was one thing. Let me tell you, I spent 8 years total in the Philippines, 4 or 5 of which straight at one time, which I was down and out in the Philippines, no money, expired visa, had a kid, my wife dearly. We were feeding him, but her and I were going without, and it sucked. And let me tell you, when you get out of the beautiful comforts of the United States, there's no safety nets. There was no welfare department we could walk down to and try to sign up for an EBT card so we could get groceries. If we didn't have money, we didn't eat. A lot of times we went into the jungle and dug up roots to make stews and soups, and we eat it over rice, and that's all we had. So anyway, that's why it kind of took my mind. Having only been like I'm only a decade removed from third world poverty, brah. Okay, and no, I didn't have any family that could help me out or would help me out if they could help me out. I had to work my way out of that situation, and I did it by writing. I did it by creating social media content, and now here we are. As you can tell, we don't gotta worry about that anymore. So that's why it's so important. I want to get back to that realness and that rawness. Now, speaking of money, if it was just about money, I wouldn't be doing this. You know what I'd be doing? I'd be doing a million different things. I saw something online the other day, and it just reminded me of how I've had this theory the last few years. Because look, I'm like, there's this misconception that if you want to be successful in social media, you got to be a smoking hot, early 20-something-year-old girl that knows how to twerk. I had people tell me I'd never make it on YouTube, never make it on Facebook. Oh, just up until 3 months ago, never make it on Instagram. Oh, well, we know you've made it on these other platforms. That's because those are for old people now, but you can't do Instagram. Even my 13-year-old son said, Dad, Instagram's for young people. You're going to have a hard time, making it over there. We hit the required numbers for monetization in 3 weeks. I think it was 10,000 followers. We did that in 3 weeks. And it's been 2 months now, and we're at almost 50,000. So no. When you know what you're doing, when you understand the business you're in, it's actually relatively easy. So because of this, it's not luck. It's like any business. You create a business model, you create a game plan, you execute, and you succeed. As long, the numbers make sense, you put in the work. That's the biggest part a lot of people don't want to do. They'll make a dozen videos, 40 or 50 videos, or pieces of social media content. And they say, see, I'm not even monetized, not even close. If you make it in this business, you're just lucky. No, it's not luck. It's understanding the business. And also, largely, if you're one of those people that are convinced you're just a little bit smarter than everybody else and you don't need to take advice from others, in sports we would call that not being coachable. You're just not going to make it anywhere. That's just how it goes. I've seen some of the best natural athletes never even make it to their high school football team because their egos are so big. They're uncoachable. Not coach, I don't need that advice. Well, it's the same thing in the adult world. Somebody approaches you, hey, you're in social media, how can I actually do that? You give them some hints, some advice. They decide they don't want to do the work, and no, you just got lucky, man. I'm not doing that. That's goofy. But listen, it's never been easier in human history to easily make money than it is now, largely because of social media, the technology we have, the things that are out there. If you're in your working years and you're not making 10 grand a month or more on social media, spend an hour or two a day doing it, you are missing the biggest boat of the last century as far as being able to better your lifestyle, quit that crap job, get the wolves away from your door. And here's even more proof. The other day, I was just skimming headlines, right? I stay away from the news. I don't read the news. The stuff I do read is kind of like quirky and a little bit out there. So when I'm served articles on wherever I am on the internet, it's kind of like some very non-traditional stuff. So I ran across a very non-traditional article, read it because it caught my attention, and that I loved it because that's confirmation to everything I just said about how simple it is to make money right now. Like, for example, and I'm going to tell you about this article. You're going to love it. Some of you might start doing it. I might start doing it. 2018, we had a downturn in our social media business. I'd published a book called The Box that I think is one of the greatest books I've ever written, but sales were terrible because I'd been doing stuff that was marketable, paranormal, Bigfoot, Sasquatch. The Box was a romance novel. It's available on Amazon and print or Kindle. The link's in the description box. You can even get autographed copies directly from me from our Etsy store, and that link's in the description box as well. But we had a downturn, and I was like, I got to do something for a while. And we had a fallout with Facebook. I got to do something for a while to generate enough income and revenue to keep my house until we make it past this blip. And that's when we started this YouTube channel, of course. Took us 6 months, but we finally got monetized. Took 600 videos. We made 100 videos a month for 6 months. Finally got monetized. Haven't worked in the old economy with a real job since. During that time, though, I was working at the post office. I was delivering mail in Charlottesville, working 10 to 12 hours a day. So I'd come out here in the fields. I'd make 2 or 3 videos a day, give them to Dearly. She'd upload them and publish them during the day while I was chucking mail. It finally worked. We were able to get away from that. Well, if I had a need today, like a short-term monetary need, like I just had bills I couldn't pay and I needed to do something, you know what I do now? I do Uber. When we go to concerts out of town, like we'll drive maybe to Baltimore or DC. We went and saw Air Supply down in Roanoke a couple of years ago. We'll go get in a motel, but then we'll take an Uber to the show and back because I don't like driving at night, especially if it's in a city I'm not familiar with. I talk to these Uber people. There are Uber drivers making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month just driving Uber. These people have quit their jobs. You can do it now with DoorDash. You can go get people's food. And then my wife was telling me here recently, there's one she's thinking about doing just because she's got time, where you actually go out and run errands for people, like going to the grocery stores and all that. And you get paid for that, but the money in that is people that tip. So anyway, here's a strange article, and I'm actually considering this. Hear me out. When I first say what I'm going to say, you're going to be like, Crazy Lake's done lost his mind again. Trigger warning. I'm going to drink some water, which was coffee, before I drank all my coffee. No, Crazy Lake has not lost his mind again, because he never found it in the first place. I don't want to find it. I went looking for it, but I found I'm better off without it, because it makes me think like everyone else. Makes me be like everybody else, and that's boring. And it's an imprisonment. It's that soul trap thing I've talked about a million times. So anyway, OnlyFans. I know. There you go. Crazy Lake lost his mind again. Sound like I heard something laughing up here behind me. Are you guys hearing that and detecting movement back here? All right, so anyway, here's this article I read. Something about feet. There's this English pop star / actress named Lily Allen. I'd never heard of her. Her image was there. And this is no disrespect to her or her craft. It's just I don't really keep up with current and modern pop culture, though I follow trends, and I'm interested in pop culture history. But as far as like what's hot today, I know that we won't really know if it's good for another 10 years. If we're still hearing it 10 years, yeah, it was probably pretty good. But if not, flash in the pan. But I've never heard of this woman, Lily Allen. Had her picture. After reading this story, I Googled her, and I did find out. I'm familiar with who her husband is. It's the guy, his name's Dave something. He's on that show, Stranger Things. He's like the sheriff. And he was in that movie where he's Santa Claus, and Santa Claus comes to this house that's being held up by robbers trying to steal this fortune, and Santa Claus kills them all. It's that guy. That's it. So she's 39. She's an English lady. She sings, and she's an actress. Get this, true story. She was having a pedicure one day, and her pedicurist, whatever you call those folks, told her that she had perfect feet. Perfect feet. And then they made the comment, they told her, you have no idea how much money you could be making off of your feet. She's like, what? So she started looking into it. She opened an OnlyFans account. She charges people $10 a month for their monthly subscription. And the only thing she posts on there are images of her feet. And she makes more money doing that than she makes from her songs streams on Spotify. And she gets 8 million streams a month and has over 1 million fans on Spotify. She makes over, the actual dollar amount, she makes over $10,000 a month posting pictures of her feet on OnlyFans. I had no clue. And I'm like, this is proof to what I just said earlier about how it's never been easier in the history of mankind to just make money because of these technological advances we have. Social media, the internet, you can do it with your phone. My wife has an Apple iPhone 16 because I just bought her one for her birthday. It's brand new. It's the latest thing. Mine's like an Apple iPhone 13. I've been using the same iPhone for like 5 or 6 years out here making these videos. All that social media content for Facebook and Instagram and the Amazon affiliate marketing, the whatever. So anyway, listen, I'm thinking about, because I was thinking feet. Okay, so I don't have, I mean, maybe I do have nice, effeminate looking feet like a woman. I don't know. But I was like, feet, I do have big feet. They're size 12. You know what they say about guys with big feet? It's true, and I'm going to prove it. They say guys with big feet wear big boots, big shoes. It's true. Speaking of which, these are my high C's. These are my original pair, wonderful boots. I'm a sponsor of this company too. If I can remember to do it, I'll put the link to their site in there because we got a 15% discount code. If you buy a pair of high C boots, they're really good. So yeah, it's true. That's my point. People with big feet wear big boots, big shoes. But then I was thinking, I got this Bigfoot thing going on because potentially, I mean, for the last 8 years, I may or may not have one or a whole pack of them suckers living up here in the woods behind my house. What if I started an OnlyFans page or account, whatever it is, and I just showed pictures of my feet? And you know what? I think I've got a gimmick I could pull off with this is my feet look different. My left foot and my right foot, they don't look the same. I'm going to tell you why. Imagine these are my feet, okay? And my fingers are my toes. So my left leg is 1/4 of an inch shorter than my right leg. Why? It's because I grew up on the side of a hill in West Virginia in a trailer. So we are always walking kind of like sideways like that. You laugh at me, it's true. When I was in high school, I was trying to break our state record for the mile. My junior year, I was state champion in the mile, broke our school record, ran a 4:33 miles. State record was 4:20. Well, I was going to break that my senior year. So I got up to 70 miles a week. As a high school kid running 70 miles a week, I broke my leg in 3 places. Stress fractures on the short leg because it was taking the excessive pounding because of the imbalance. That's how I found out about the difference. So, since everything's shorter on that leg and it's done more work because it's got to push off harder and everything, the muscles and tendons have gotten tighter and shorter. So my feet look like this. On my left foot, my toes are kind of crunched up like that, and then on the right, they're flat like that. So if I put them side by side, you can't even tell they're the feet of the same person. Watch. Oh wait, I gotta take my socks off. You know what? I'm not going to, because why would I give away the product for free? If I decide this afternoon, after spending more time, a couple more hours looking for this lost manuscript, I'm not over there making them thousands of dollars a day on Facebook and Instagram and all them other things we're doing. I might get back in the point where I need some money. Now it's like, do I keep looking for this lost manuscript? Lost? I ran out of air before I ran out of syllables. Before I keep looking for the lost manuscript of Utopia Shattered, or do I start an OnlyFans account? I mean, I could just not do either and go back to just doing what I do, but I gotta find this manuscript. It's raw, it's real, it's readable. Probably have to edit it again for the 7th time. I'm gonna find it. That's my point. I hope you got something out of this talk today. I will find that manuscript. Oh, and Halloween night, I'm gonna read you the creepiest story. One of them. Gosh, I've written so many creepy stories. Can you believe it? Everybody's like, this guy's so weird. He seems crazy, but my God, can he write? And sometimes the things he says make sense. So with all that said, I'm going to get back to the search for the lost manuscript of Utopia Shattered. Thanks for being here on the greatest homesteading channel on the planet that has absolutely nothing to do with homesteading. Homesteading off the grid. See y'all fellers for more next time.